Moral teachings in Christianity and Islam finding common ground. Two of the most popular religions in the world, Islam and Christianity, have a rich moral heritage that places a strong emphasis on morality, love, and compassion. Both religions support values that advance social justice, community support, and respect for others despite their theological differences. In this video, we will reveal how both traditions encourage adherents to live meaningful lives grounded in love and responsibility towards one another. Number 7. Love and compassion. Both Islam and Christianity rely heavily on love and compassion as the cornerstones of their moral teachings. In the Gospels, Jesus articulates the Christian commandment to love one's neighbor, emphasizing that the two greatest commandments are to love God and one's neighbor. This love manifests itself in deeds that promote community and support for others, such as selflessness, forgiveness, and acts of kindness. It is not just an emotional feeling. This idea is demonstrated by the Good Samaritan parable, which calls on believers to be compassionate towards everyone, including those who are viewed as outsiders, by demonstrating how true neighborly love transcends social and ethnic boundaries. Islam places a strong emphasis on compassion since Allah is described as the Most Merciful in the Quran. Throughout his life, the Prophet Muhammad demonstrated compassion and inspired Muslims to carry out deeds of kindness and charity. The hadith emphasizes that love and compassion should go beyond human interactions to include animals and the environment, saying that a believer is one who extends mercy to all of creation. Because both religions place a strong focus on love and compassion, their adherents are inspired to develop empathy and actively pursue the welfare of others. Number 6. Faith and good deeds. One of the most important concepts in both Islam and Christianity is the inherent relationship between good deeds and faith, emphasizing the need for action to follow belief. The famous statement made by the Christian apostle James that faith without works is dead emphasizes the notion that true faith shows itself in concrete deeds of love and service. It is the duty of Christians to practice their faith by giving to the poor, serving the community, and participating in charitable endeavors. Jesus' teachings, especially the Sermon on the Mount, place a strong emphasis on leading a life that reflects one's values and promotes justice, humility, and mercy. Islam teaches in a similar way that faith is incomplete in the absence of good deeds. According to the Quran, genuine righteousness is shown by deeds of justice, compassion, and charity rather than just by belief. The idea that faith must be actively expressed through good deeds is reinforced by the 5 pillars of Islam, which include practices like Psalm and Zakat. Both traditions foster a holistic understanding of spirituality that unites belief with moral behavior by encouraging their adherents to see their moral behavior as a reflection of their faith. Number 5. Tolerance and respect. Fundamental moral precepts of both Islam and Christianity are tolerance and respect for others, which foster harmonious cohabitation and mutual understanding amongst various communities. The verse, "To you be your religion, and to me my religion," highlights how important it is for Muslims to respect other people's beliefs. This verse promotes tolerance and acceptance of the diversity of religions among Muslims, creating an atmosphere that is conducive to respectful discourse. This tolerance principle is further demonstrated by the Prophet Muhammad's dealings with non-Muslims, such as his treaties with Jewish and Christian communities. In Christianity, everyone is called to love their neighbor, regardless of their background or place of faith. As expressed in the Golden Rule, Jesus' teachings exhort followers to treat others with kindness and compassion. This idea encourages Christians to take into account the thoughts and feelings of others in order to foster an environment of respect and empathy. Both religions acknowledge the importance of promoting tolerance and respect in order to create peaceful communities where people can cooperate and have productive conversations for the benefit of all. Number 4. Ethical framework. A strong ethical framework that directs adherents in their relationships with others and the outside world is offered by both Islam and Christianity. Christianity's ethical teachings have their origins in the life and teachings of Jesus, who placed a strong emphasis on justice, humility, and love. A fundamental ethical manual is the Sermon on the Mount, in which Jesus outlines values like forgiveness, harmony, and honesty. It is encouraged of Christians to live out these virtues every day, making an effort to show Christ's love through their deeds. The 10 Commandments also establish unambiguous moral standards for interactions with God and other people, placing a strong emphasis on the virtues of loyalty, honesty, and respect. The Quran and the Hadith, which provide guidelines for justice, integrity, and charity, serve as the foundation for Islamic ethics. Regardless of one's background, Muslims are commanded by the Quran to act justly and defend the rights of others. Islamic teachings place a strong emphasis on social justice and charity, as well as the welfare of the community. Insisting that adherents behave honorably and compassionately in all facets of life, both religions support moral conduct that advances social harmony and justice. Number 3. Role of prophets. One important point of similarity between Islam and Christianity is the prophetic role as divine messengers, emphasizing a mutual belief in moral instruction and divine guidance. Jesus is revered in Christianity as the Son of God and the fullest embodiment of God's truth and love. His deeds and teachings, which emphasize humility, love, and forgiveness, provide an example for how a Christian should live. Furthermore, people like Abraham and Moses are honored as prophets who were instrumental in establishing moral laws and communicating God's messages. Prophets are regarded in Islam as specially selected people who receive revelations from God in order to lead humanity. Muslims hold that Muhammad is the last prophet in a long line of prophets that includes Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. The Quran highlights that the core message of moral righteousness and monotheism was preached by all prophets. This mutual respect for prophetic figures highlights a shared conviction about the value of divine direction and the moral obligations associated with adhering to their teachings. Both religions highlight the importance of upholding moral standards and the persistence of God's message throughout history by acknowledging the role of prophets. Number 2. Importance of community. Both Islam and Christianity place a strong emphasis on the value of community and shared responsibility, emphasizing the necessity for believers to help one another and strive towards the common good. The idea of the church as a body of believers promotes a sense of support and community among Christians. Gathering for worship, fellowship, and service is encouraged for Christians, who are expected to live out the teachings of Jesus by showing compassion and love to others. The value of supporting one another in faith and sharing one another's burdens is often emphasized in the New Testament. The idea that communal worship and service enrich individual faith is reinforced by this communal aspect of Christianity. The term Ummah in Islam refers to the Muslim community worldwide, highlighting the unity of all believers. One of the main tenets of Islam is the zakat practice, which supports the notion that Muslims have an obligation to look out for the less fortunate members of their communities. Furthermore, communal get-together and congregational prayers throughout Ramadan promote harmony and solidarity among Muslims. Both customs emphasize the value of community involvement, calling on adherents to take an active role in promoting community well-being and lending support to one another during difficult times. Number 1. Accountability and judgment. Christianity and Islam have much in common, including a belief in divine judgment and accountability, which serves to emphasize how important it is to live morally upright lives. In Christianity, the New Testament describes a last judgment in which people will answer for their deeds. Christians are inspired to live in accordance with Jesus' teachings, aiming for morality and ethics by their conviction and accountability. A key idea in Christian theology is grace, which emphasizes that although believers are responsible for their deeds, they are also eligible for forgiveness and redemption if they place their faith in Christ. Islamic belief holds that every soul will be judged according to its deeds, with punishment for the wicked and paradise for the righteous. This belief is emphasized throughout the Quran. Islamic doctrine holds that everyone will be held responsible for their deeds during the Day of Judgment, which occurs on the day of creation. In order to fulfill their moral obligations and ask for forgiveness for their transgressions, Muslims are encouraged by this belief to live with this sense of purpose and responsibility. According to the teachings of both religions, the knowledge of divine accountability acts as a moral compass, inspiring followers to behave justly and kindly towards others. These details provide an in-depth understanding of the moral precepts that both Islam and Christianity share, demonstrating their capacity to promote communication and collaboration in a multicultural society. Thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to subscribe.